Everyone, this is Tom from VermiBag. I'm going to set up a new VermiBag Max today. I did a video on my African night crawlers and I need to expand that bin, so I'm going to set a brand new VermiBag Max up for them, and I need to build a stand for it. So I decided I'd do it on the cheap. I found this wood pallet, and I also found a real heavy duty one, which is really nice. They must have had a big motor or something on it, but the cross slats were actually 2x6s and 4x4s for the bottom section. So I'm going to use those for the legs. I'll rip those 2x6s. I already took that one apart, of course, but I'll use the 2x6s, rip in half to make the legs, and then I'm going to make the sides of it with the pieces off of this. Now these are a little bit difficult to get apart sometimes. You have to be careful so you don't break them, because the nails they use on pallets have basically threads on them. So basically my tools of the trade today are going to be a big hammer, a large one, and a crowbar. And if you can get the nails up just a little bit, like this one is right here, then you can get the crowbar underneath the edge of it and you can pull them up. So I'm going to hit them really hard on the back side, tap them along the side, then push them back down and try and get them up like this. So I won't bore you with everything, but I'll kind of show you a little bit of the procedure, and then we'll start putting the stand together once I get all the pieces cut. So folks, this is what I ended up with. I have 7 of the 1x6s. I had one that broke in half, so I'm going to end up using it like a 1x3 or 1x4 or something like that on the back side. And then I ripped some of the larger stock I had, the 2x6s on the one stand, or on the pallet, into 4 legs. So I have my 4 legs and my 8 sides. I'm going to take them inside and use a chop saw, make sure they're all at the exact same length, and then I'll show you what I have before I put them together. Okay, here's my 8 sides. I got them all cut to 29.5 inches. I used a block to make sure I'd butt them up against to make sure they're all exactly the same length. So I do have that one that's not quite as wide, but it's fine. Now I'm going to take the drill and I'm going to drill a small hole in the end of each one of these, just on one side. And then I'm going to take one of these small thin screws that are about twice the thickness of the board, and I'm going to drill them into the hole. Now you want to drill these basically half the distance, whatever the width is. So these are going to go over about in that area there is where you're going to drill them, because the other end of one of these other boards is going to be on the back side of this, so you need to screw it into it. So about in that position on each one of them, I'm going to drill a hole and put one of the screws in. Okay, so now I have one hole drilled in each end, and I have a screw in it basically most of the way through the piece of wood. Now the other end of these, there's nothing. I didn't do anything at all to those. So by doing this, you're not going to be able to make the squares the wrong way, because they'll only screw in one way, and you'll see when I'm putting them together. So now let's go ahead and form our first square and make it here on top of this little. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is just lay it out on the table so you're not confused on which screw goes where. So if you place a screw, one piece of wood that has a screw in each corner, the thing's going to basically form a nice even square all the way around. So we'll tilt these up, screw them in, and get the first one done. Make sure you have the ends even. We'll screw this in. The other side, position this here, right here. These need to be flush, and then the top needs to be flush as well. rotate it slightly. So there's the first square. And don't yank it up really hard. It's a little flimsy. It'll stay together pretty good. Go ahead and carefully set it off the side. And we'll do the second one. Do the same thing for the second one and just set it up exactly the same with the screw on each corner. Okay, now that you got the two squares screwed together, stack them up on top of each other, and you'll notice on the inside the corners are going to be even all the way around them. What's important there is so when you stick the legs in here, they'll sit up flush against the inside so you can get the screw in there really well. So go ahead and take your first leg like that and place it any corner you want. Don't put any screws into the legs on the bottom one. That's just acting as a spacer. We're only working on this top one. So go around and drill a hole through the side piece and into your leg, making sure this is secure in the corner. I'm going to do just one on each side actually. Then go ahead and take some wood screws. I think these are probably about 1.5 inches, but they'll go through there and go about 3/4 of the way through the leg. And put one of those in each side. Now, don't worry about the other screws for right now. We're going to go ahead and go around and put one in each leg first. So I'll speed it up and show you what it's like when it's done. Okay, now that you have a screw in each one of the corners, just go ahead and lift the top section out, flip it over, oops, ouch, and stick it back in there. Now this is going to be your top now, so this is the bottom on the top now, and this is actually the top. So this will be perfectly flush. Since you have it on a level surface, the tops of the legs are going to be perfectly flush with the top, so that's why it works so nicely. So I'm just going to do the same thing, put a screw in each one of the corners, and then we'll sit on the ground and finish putting the rest of the screws in it. I'm going to go ahead and get my tools and go ahead and cut the slots in for the rods. Okay, I'm ready to go ahead and put the supports in. I'm going to do it the easy way. I have 4 barn nails here. So that's all you need. 4 7-inch barn nails, or whatever length you want, that'll come across your corners. A screwdriver to pop out everything. A pencil to mark everything. I'm using a hacksaw, works really well. And then the first thing, position your nail across where you want it to go. You want it to just barely miss the corner right here. Once you get it to that point there, then just go ahead and mark where the nail needs to be on both sides. So, so this is the area I need to cut out. And what you need to do with the hacksaw is go down deep enough for this will sit flush. So basically, you can tell there it's about half the width of the hacksaw blade, and this will be flush under there. So half to a little over half. It doesn't really matter. You go with the full width if you wanted to. But so I'm just going to etch each one of these corners and then I'll cut them out. Again, don't make it too wide. You want this thing to actually fit fairly tight. If anything, I'm angling it inward a little bit, so both of these cuts will come down towards each other a little bit. The nail works really nice because the head of the nail will actually hold this thing in there and it won't go anywhere. So all 4 of those are notched now, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut them down to the depth I want. So as that one's done like that, take a screwdriver and just pop it in there, and this whole section will come out. Then you can take the screwdriver and kind of clean the ends off, because normally there'll be a little bit hanging there. And that's it. That one's done. Take a little bit off the end here. Okay. Now take your nail, position it for, this is about halfway, and from the edge there, and that one's about halfway. If you have a little bit longer nail, it might fit all the way to the end, but right about there, for you got a good, so when I hit this in, it's going to really grab well. So I'm going to go about there, then I'm just going to give this a good whack. There you go. That thing is in there nice and tight and close. That thing is in there real nice and solid. And I can actually lift up the end here and slide the bag on and then push it back over there. And if you're worried about the end coming off again, you could put a small wood screw, not this big, but just put a small wood screw, angle it sideways a little bit there, and it'll lock, screw it all the way down, and it'll lock that end in. I'm going to do that in all 4 bags and have it ready, and then I'm going to set my bag up. So this is it, folks. This thing's super solid, super easy to make. Okay, here's the bag I'm going to hang on this thing. Green, one of the first green maxes I did. So it's pretty simple to hang it. All I have to do, now I want the small piece here to be in the back, so if that's the case, I want this to be the front, so the bag's going to sit like this. I'm just going to lift up these corners a little bit, set it back down in there. Lift up the one end corner, set it there. There we go. We're all set. You can see how those work in the corners. They fit perfectly. Keeps the bag tensioned really well. I'll tap those nails down just a little bit more. I'm going to end up putting little corner pieces. Actually, I'll go grab one real fast and show you what I'll put on them for the finished product. So I'm not going to put screws to hold them in or anything. So I have a bunch of this press board. I guess it's 1/8" press board. So I just cut it where I have a square corner, put it in the corner here, and then I'm just going to put a screw in each corner somewhere there. Nice thing is too, then I have a someplace I can set something. I can set something on each corner, container of water or pencil or whatever it happens to be. So just nice and handy, and it looks nice. Once I have all 4 corners like that, the bag will look, or the stand will look really, really nice. So on the cheap, like I said, cost me basically nothing to build the stand. It took me about an hour, I guess, from start to finish, but that's because I had materials that I had to take the stand or the pallets apart and do all that extra work. So I hope you found this video helpful. Easy way to make a very, very inexpensive stand for your VermiBag Max or your Mini. So until next time, this is Tom. Ciao.